Hello and welcome back to Elden Ring. This is part 8 of the run where we prepare for the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. And in this run, we will be going through every single weapon, shield, armor set, talisman, spirit ash, physic tier, and cookbook that you are going to need, no matter what run or build you are doing. And last time we went through Caria Manor, this time we will be going through the Academy of Raya Lucaria, which requires a key which can be found here on the map. So, you get there, and then you can head up to one of these gates. One can be found next to the South Raya Lucaria gate, and one can be found next to the East Raya Lucaria gate. Just head up to it, and press the interact button to examine the seal, and that will send you in and will put you here. Directly in front of you will be a set of grace, and there are 3 ways to go. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. So that is the path of progress, but looking at the 2 gates, you can go up and examine the seal to teleport to either here or here, respectively. But you can also just walk through them, which I would highly suggest doing, as this way, heading in the northeast direction, there are 2 things you can get here. The first is a golden seed, and the second, which we passed up, but we can get on the way back, is a summon sign to assist Yura. So, accepting that, you'll be sent into another world where you and Yura will have to fight the Bloody Finger Ravenmount Assassin, which seems very much like Elden Ring's version of Eileen the Crow, with the crow feather garb and how they kill other people as the thing they do, and how they have these dual-wield, very light, fast, dagger-like weapons. But killing them
That bloody thing here's a token of...
you are rewarded with an Ash of War and a Smithing Stone 5.
I'm dying. Yeah, she is the budding spot. If she come, there is no be on your perhaps sweet.
Make sure to completely go through the dialogue of every NPC in order to go through their quest. From there, we can head down this other pathway, and the bridge on this pathway isn't broken, and so there's a lot more to run. And there's also some wolf enemies here. You can take this slow and kill them one at a time if you want, or you can run past them if you want. Either way works, but here, there's a merchant.
Well, there's been a... How can I?
From this merchant, you can purchase the Fanged Imp Ashes, which were one of the possible keepsakes. They're pretty good. You can purchase a few stone sword keys. You can purchase a cookbook, which lets you make sleep grease and sleep arrows. You can also get the blue cloth set, which is one of the starting armor sets.
Have a safe journey.
So some good stuff from them, and teleporting back to this site of grace, so that way we don't have to run all the way back, since the loading screen is faster, at least on PC. But continuing on, we can take this elevator up, and quick reminder that if you're going to take an elevator up or down, send it back just in case you die. And here, the Academy of Raya Lucaria, we get the title pop-up, and we can head in to the title area. Here, magic grease in case you want to try it out. Though, probably not good idea here, since a lot of the enemies in this area are resistant to magic, which is a bit unfortunate for magic builds, considering you're going to want to come here for a ton of rewards. Off to the right, there's an illusory wall, and finding that gets you a rune arc. And then heading back into this main room, there's a handful of these normal enemies. They aren't a big threat. They don't have a lot of health. They don't do a lot of damage. Pretty easy to take out. And continuing on, there's a few items sprinkled about, nothing too important, but no reason not to grab them. Here there's a site of grace and a summoning pool, because it is going to get a bit more difficult heading down into here, as there are lots of hidden enemies that like to come at you with a grab attack. Which, that grab attack, not only does it drain health, but it also drains FP. So, magic casters beware. Around this corner, there's a smithing stone 4. And coming over here, there's a pathway down or a pathway up. There's nothing of note on this pathway up. So, unless you're just into the combat, you don't need to come up here, as it is just a handful of enemies and a few grace mimics. Dropping down, again, watch out for enemies hiding around corners. And these enemies are quite slow, so you can just ignore them if you want, as I'm going to show here. Now you can head across the bridge, or you can head behind those gravestones to take this slightly hidden path down. If you're a ranged build, or have ranged damage, you may find it better to just go across the bridge, but for melee builds, you're going to want to go down so you can take these enemies out, as you can see here, we're across the bridge, but you can't get up there with the simple jump. So, do with that information as you will. And here there's a larger version of these grappler enemies. They have more health, and that's about it. Here, as you can see, that grab attack takes most of your FP. At least if you haven't leveled that stat up. But here, as you can see, you can get 4 easy backstabs. Which, mixed with the assassin's cerulean dagger, which I didn't put on until here, but mixed with the assassin's cerulean dagger, you can get much of that FP back. So, don't worry too much about it. But there you can get the Carrion Knight set. And then continuing on, there's a not too important item there, but it is a free 800 runes. And dropping down here, another one of the big grapplers, and also a lot of dogs. And I do mean a lot of dogs. So, you want to take this slow, don't rush things, as running in can aggro like 5, 6, 7 dogs, along with 2 of the large grapplers. So, just be warned about that. With all those enemies taken out, we can now continue down this side path where there's a scarab that gets you the Ash of War Spectral Lance, which is a pretty decent Ash of War that gives you a nice ranged option if your weapon can equip it. But continuing on, there's a thing to the right that you can jump on, and if you want, you can jump on that immediately and just skip this. Or you can fight this enemy, which are very weak to continuous guard counters. Once again, guard counters are busted. And with that, you can get the Gravity Well Sorcery, which is a gravity sorcery and is a solid first taste if you want to try them out and see what those are about. And then heading on to this moving platform elevator, you can jump off here, and inside this building is a Site of Grace. From there, you can turn around and head back out, and then up this path. Golden Urn 4, and you can take this jump to head back onto the elevator, but this time heading down in the opposite direction. Looking north, northwest, there is a drop that you can take, and it's mostly just enemies and the Avionet soldier ashes. So if you want to go there, you can. I would rather just keep moving, just for your sake and for the sake of time. So if you want to do that, you can. I'm going to continue on. We're reaching the bottom here. There's an item there. It is a talisman, which if you are familiar with the Dark Souls games, it is the cat talisman. or the cat ring, it nullifies fall damage. Though Elden Ring changed fall damage, which makes that talisman almost entirely useless. And so, while it is a great reward in Dark Souls 3, not so much here, and so I'm not going to be picking it up in protest. And here, you can get a Smithing Stone 5 and a handful of Glintstone Fireflies, which are used in crafting magical items. So, might be good to pick those up. And then up here, you can get the Lost Ashes of War, and then you can head back to the Schoolhouse Classroom Site of Grace. Heading forward, there's a summoning pool in case you need help. And an enemy. Heading left of that enemy, there's a chest here that holds the Glintstone Cookbook 5, and that gets you magic grease and magic arrows. You also get a scroll, which can get you the sorceries Glintstone Comet Shard and Star Shower. Glintstone Comet Shard being the third variation of Glintstone Pebble. And from there, there's an illusory wall with another Smithing Stone 4. And then you can jump over that railing, and you can make your way through here, over rocks. Make sure to jump there. And here you get a Glintstone Crown. This increases your intelligence stat by 3 points, but it lowers your health a bit. And you don't need that one specifically, but you do need a Glintstone Crown. Any of your choice for an item later on. For now, you can keep heading up. This is a room with 4 sorcerers and one of those giant warrior jars. So I found that it's best to either rush in and take out the sorcerers as fast as possible, or to rush in, kill one, and then lead the warrior jar back into the previous hallway. Either way works, and clearing out this room, you can get a ritual pot out of that chest. Then continuing on, there's some enemies here, but up these stairs, there's a fog wall, and to the left, there's another illusory wall. So heading on into here, in this chest is Comet, which is a sorcery and a stone sword key, and then a ladder. Now that Comet sorcery is the final iteration of Glintstone Pebble, and it requires 52 intelligence to use. And then as you can see there, we can take some jumps and some drops to land in this room to get the Graven School Talisman. This increases the potency of sorceries if you're using those and want a bit more power. Heading back up here, we can now head into this fog wall in order to fight a boss. And this is a very fast boss and is very much a glass cannon. So they're fast, they hit relatively hard, but they also have very little health, as you can see. And killing them gets you 14,000 runes and a memory stone. And then a site of grace. And don't forget to level up. And then you can head forwards. Here there will be another summoning pool in case you need help. And heading through this gate, you can take a right and another right. And you can jump over this. And then that gets you access to this ladder. Heading up here, you can jump through the broken window, like with the Celestial Emissary in Bloodborne, and then you can head down this right path to get the Radagon icon. This is a talisman that shortens spell casting time, and it is vital for any build that uses spells, whether that be sorceries or incantations. It is very, very useful. And continuing on, you can drop down here and take out this group of enemies. Remember that heavy attacks tend to stun these small jars and makes them very easy to take out. And here we can get a cracked pot, and that glintstone staff that we picked up, pretty decent, but it is a random drop, so don't expect to get it. Heading up here, there are some enemies that you may want to take out. And dropping down here and into this room, there's another one of these enemies protecting the glintstone wet blade. And once we take these enemies out, we can show what that is. And as you can see here, it can allow you to put magic or frost on your weapon. And then we can once again head back up here and jump over this railing to get access to this pathing. This is a very minor shortcut door, and this is an optional path, so you don't need to go through here, but I would highly suggest going through here, as there are some very good rewards here, and it is just fun to go jumping over the rooftops and truly, thoroughly exploring this area and just appreciating the incredible level design that the developers over at From Software can come up with. Dropping down here, you can go off to the right down here, or you can take this jump over here, which is very risky, and I would suggest not doing it while an enemy is aggroed onto you. So, with no enemy aggroed onto us, we can jump. Again, that is very risky, so I wish you the best of luck. And here, you can either go forward there, around to the right, or you can go this way. I'm going to go this way. If you're curious, because I'm not going to show it, going the other way gets you another glintstone crown. I don't remember which one off the top of my head, but if the glintstone crowns interest you, you can go see what that's about. Or you can continue heading this way up this 30-second ladder climb that we're going to skip. And off on the right side here, there's the full moon crossbow. But that's not why we went this path. We went this path so we can get a smithing stone 4. And now we can do these normal drop downs and take the normal path. Down here, this is a little side loop-de-loop where you can get an imbued sword key. Those are for the 4 belfries. And you also get 2 smithing stone 3. And then heading back around, you can take this ladder down if you want to a little side area, or you can jump onto this rooftop where there are a few enemies which you can clear out without too much trouble. And then you can jump into this window, heading onto this like shutter area, or these rafters, and you can get the Academy Glintstone key. This is a very, very important item, and so I would very much suggest getting it. And then here you can get the Twin Sage Glintstone crown, which increases your intelligence stat by 6 points to the detriment of health and stamina. Or if you really want to have as much intelligence as possible. Off in this corner, not super special, but it's pretty much on the way there, so might as well show it. But the final reason to come here is past this enemy. Now, their crossbow, it has 3 explosive bolts. So I would be very wary of that. But getting past them, you get Azur's Glintstone Staff, which requires 52 intelligence, has some strength and intelligence scaling, but most importantly, it reduces the casting time of sorceries at the cost of additional FP. Having gotten that, we can head back to the debate parlor site of grace. Now we can head back forward into this courtyard area, and on this fountain section is a stone sword key. And there's another one of these enemies. Taking them out to make this area safer to traverse, we can head over to this west side area to get a golden seed, and we can head back here to get another glintstone crown. This one being Carlos. It increases your intelligence stat by 3 to the detriment of stamina. And there are some more items to the left, which spawns a giant crab. And there's also one forward and to the left, which spawns another giant crab. But none of those items are super special. And so if you want to get them, you can. Here, I'm going to continue moving on for the sake of time. On here, there's a giant cannonball, wrecking ball, whatever you want to call it. And you can get a smithing stone 5. Don't be afraid to take this slow. Don't be afraid to take your time, because it is better to be safe than dead. Continuing on up, stick to the left side, and it'll miss. And then up here, there will be a hostile NPC. And you can fight them if you want. You can run past them if you want. Up to you, but I like to use gravity because gravity is the most difficult boss in all of Dark Souls. And that remains to be true here. And you get a shield off of them. Continuing on, there's this little side path. And you can jump over this railing and then head up a ladder. And that will allow you to kill the enemies summoning the giant ball. And you can also get a headpiece if you want. Or you can come over here and open that shortcut door so you don't have to go past the ball path anymore. You can do both if you want. I don't think the headpiece or the getting rid of the ball is worth the trouble. At least not while recording, so once again, for the sake of time, we are going to just skip past it. And I would suggest putting on the Spelldrake Talisman, as this upcoming boss will have quite a lot of magic damage. So, pushing this door open, you can head on in, and you'll get a cutscene. And there are lots of these little enemies around. You want to look for the ones with the glowing yellow aura around them. You want to hit 3 of them down. And after hitting 3 of them, then Renala will fall down, and you can start taking swings. This tends to take 2 different cycles. I was able to do it here in 1, but it normally takes 2, so don't worry if it does. And here, you have phase 2. And if you're someone who's okay with using Spirit Ashes, I would suggest using Spirit Ashes here. This is why. She uses them, so us using them is just to level the playing field. To distract her ashes with yours. And she can summon a troll, she can summon wolves, she can summon a dragon, she can summon a bloodhound knight. She's got options, but bringing her down.
Rani, my dear daughter, weave thy night into being.
You are rewarded with remembrance of the Full Moon Queen and her Great Rune, along with 40,000 runes. Her remembrance can be used for her staff, which is pretty good.
Where did he flee? Is it that to become? Be not, I would.
Or a high tier sorcery, which I would highly suggest getting if you're going to use sorceries. And that's also how you respec. But here, as you can see, we have 2 Academy Glintstone keys. And even though they're not in Raya Lucaria, you have to go through Raya Lucaria to do this. So we're going to head to the lake-facing cliffs. So that way we can give the second one to Thops.
Back to learn. Wonderful. Apollo, I'm afraid. Oh, right. I can tell you what I'm using. That's only it's done after they did the academy, as you might have guessed, making entry and so on. When they come, why not without one? And you'll never. And if once you've, would you? I know it, but still. Are you certain you're willing to? Mario, thank you. Now I can go to resume.
That gets you the Erudition gesture.
Back to why, of course. With you, perhaps, who knows?
Now, the Erudition gesture is required for what we're going to be doing. So first, we are going to head to the converted tower. And you can head back to the Academy of Raya Lucaria to find his body. It will be right by the water wheel, if you remember where that is. I didn't show it here during the recording, but you can find his body near the water wheel. And then you can head back to the church, and you can get an Ash of War there. But heading on up, as you could see there, you need your addition to get the ladder up here. And that gets you a memory stone. And then finally, we can head up here to the right side to the Frenzied Flame Village outskirt site of grace. If you remember, we got this while heading through Right Liurnia. But from here, we can turn east and head towards that tower. There will be a giant troll somewhere around here with a sword, so sticking to the right side will allow you to avoid them. And here, simply using your addition isn't enough. You need to equip one of those glintstone crowns. It doesn't matter which one, you just need to equip a glintstone crown. And using your addition will light up the crown. And will break the seal, allowing you to head into here. If you want to fight that enemy, you can. If you want to run past him, you can. Entirely up to you. But heading up here, all the way at the top, will be a chest with 2 sorceries. Cannon of Haima and Gavel of Haima. Cannon is okay, but the Gavel is a very, very good sorcery, and I would highly suggest anyone to use it. But that's everything in Raya Lucaria, except for the end of Thops's thing, so that's all the weapons, shields, armor sets, talismans, spirit ashes, wondrous physics, and cookbooks that you'll need no matter what build you're running in order to prepare for the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. I hope you continue following me through on this, and yeah.